My name is Desroches, and I'm a communications officer at the City of Kingston.
And my name is Søren Christianson, and I'm the project manager in the Climate Leadership Division at the City of Kingston.
And we're here to tell you more about student life in Kingston.
Welcome all to Tell Me More, the podcast that knows the student experience is shaped by the community you live in as well as the school you attend. This episode, we're trying something a little different. Typically, we focus on a program or service area of the city and dive in, but today, I want to talk about Kingston as a community, and importantly, what that means for students. Each year, thousands of young adults descend on Kingston for their post-secondary program, and we thought that deserves some attention. So, dear listener, are you a post-secondary student? Have you found yourself committed to spending time in the city by the lake while you complete your degree, diploma, or certificate? Do you ever wonder, what's the appeal beyond limestone buildings and what opportunities abound? Stick with us and we'll try to address some of those questions. To help get at these issues, I've pulled in some colleagues who came to Kingston for school and stayed. In fact, they started careers here at the city. So, Lauren, Søren, thank you both for being here today. Myself, I went to university in Ottawa at Carleton, and later I went to Belleville's Loyalist College. So by the time I moved to Kingston, my student years were behind me. But you two have some interesting insight, I'm sure, on this. So let's start with a bit of a round of introductions. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do at the city?
My name is Desroches. I'm a communications officer, and I've been in this role for 9 months now. I'm originally from Midland, Ontario, a small town on Georgian Bay, and I came to Kingston for school in 2014.
I'm Søren Christianson. I'm the project manager in the Climate Leadership Division at the city, and I grew up in Campbellford, about an hour and a half away from Kingston, and always thought that I would go to Queen's because my family, both my dad and my sister, actually attended Queen's. So for me, I always knew that I was going to end up in Kingston.
Oh, interesting. Was Kingston kind of a done deal for you, Lauren, or was that a surprise?
No, I first fell in love with Kingston when I toured the university about a year before I decided to come here. I was downtown and then walked all the way along the water through City Park up to campus, and just the idea that everything was so close, where I lived, where I studied, where I worked, it was all within walking distance and everything was really accessible. It was just really appealing to me, and the city is just so beautiful.
So obviously Queen's is like one of the ones that people default to, but you also went to St. Lawrence College, right?
Yeah, I did. When I was done at Queen's, so I graduated in 2018. I studied politics and languages, and then I did a program in communications at St. Lawrence College, which I graduated from in 2019.
It's like nearly the Triple Crown for Kingston post-secondary. So we've talked a bit about that, but what was the appeal of these schools within the city? Like, okay, so there's this desire to come to Kingston because to come to Queen's because other family members had. Was that the only thing? Was that the only reason, or was there something about, you can go anywhere at 18? Why do what your family did before?
Yeah, definitely a great question. Well, I thought about going to a bunch of different schools, but I had in the back of my mind that Queen's and Kingston was such a great place because, as Lauren mentioned, it's so livable. You can get around anywhere in 5 minutes without a car, not to mention great transit, which you have access to as a student. So I knew that there were some amazing benefits. And growing up in a smaller town, I wasn't as interested in going to a really huge metropolis.
Right.
I wanted something that had everything to offer, but still had kind of a small town feel, and I could get to know people in the community and, bump into my neighbors as I walked down the street.
I sort of joke frequently that Kingston feels like a big, small town, so it's got some of those benefits with it.
Definitely.
What about you, Lauren? Was that sort of similar set of reasons?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also from a small town, and coming to Kingston, I felt like it had everything I needed. There's so many amenities and community groups and different places to visit and things to do, but like Søren said, you also feel like you know everyone and everything's nice close by. So I thought it was like a good happy medium in between a massive city and the small town that I'm from.
So was there something about the specific programs within the city that appealed to you? You said you both took politics. Like, was there a reason for that program here and not, another location, not like U of T, Carleton, or one of the other schools that has like a solid program in those?
I actually kind of fell into politics by accident. One thing that I found so appealing about Queen's is that it is a general first-year program for arts and science. So I actually had no idea what I wanted to do, thought I might do something with languages or teaching, and just happened to be taking a politics class that I loved so much that's what I ended up majoring in. So I really liked that I was able to try out a bunch of different classes. I didn't have to make the decision before coming here, and I got to try it out, which I really liked.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to make a decision at that age. Like, this is going to be the stream I get into that's going to, impact my career and decisions for the next 10, 15, 20 years or whatever. And maybe having a little freedom to sample some options work. Soren, for you, was there anything specific about the program here, about the program within the city that really appealed strongly, or?
Yeah, I mean, I always had a tendency to do well in social science related courses.
Right.
I was interested in politics, and I've always had kind of a dream of working as a civil servant and potentially eventually getting into electoral politics. So for me, that was my area of interest.
Right.
Queen's had a very well regarded politics program, but you can go to political studies essentially at any university.
Yeah.
And I did tour a number of them. I went to Western, which I'm sure, in the academic rankings would be similar to Queen's in terms of political studies. But when you come to Kingston and you experience what it's like to live here as a student, you know that it cannot be compared with other schools in Ontario.
Right.
It's just different. And so getting those experiences, my older sister was at Queen's a couple years ahead of me. And so I had the opportunity to come and visit a couple times and got that experience. And I was just so excited to come here.
It's interesting because you talk about the small town feel that Kingston has while still being a city, and you kind of feel that with the student populations where it's such a big community within the city that you get this like community within a community almost, eh?
Definitely. It's like living in a little village where everyone's your age and they're all interested in the same things as you. It's pretty awesome.
And like early on when you're sort of making your way out into the world, that must be almost kind of like a comforting thing to have that, you're stepping away from a small town, but into a small town that you're kind of, it's a new community, but it's not overwhelming. So we get why you came here. Kingston's great. But why'd you stick around? What kept you here after your program was done? You theoretically could have gone anywhere, especially with politics.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, as I mentioned, studying politics, but I was working at the same time at a coffee shop and was doing some of their online marketing and things like that. And it was actually through that job that I kind of realized what skills I had. I just wasn't really sure how to apply them. So it kind of just fell into it that I was able to go to St. Lawrence College to develop those skills further. And it was through making connections with people and doing some of that networking with the outside community groups, outside of the school bubble, that I was able to meet some people and see like what options were out there for me in Kingston. And it ended up leading to a job right after school.
Nice.
Yeah. And for me, in a way, it was similar. So I had the opportunity to work as a volunteer for the AMS at Queen's, which is the student government, which I would highly recommend to any students at Queen's. It's a great way to get experience beyond, your academic studies.
Yeah.
And I ended up working eventually in a full-time position for the AMS for a year just after my undergrad finished. And that gave me, it was a community-facing role. And so I was working, across the community, not just with the city proper, but with community groups. So I got that exposure to what Kingston was beyond just Queen's,
right? How
passionate and engaged residents are here, and what kind of opportunities exist. And so that exposure really got me excited, and it kind of sparked that interest and the idea, maybe I could actually build a life for myself here, and I could see myself sticking around.
It's interesting the way you touched on exploring the community outside of Queens, the broader community of Kingston. I think sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge for new students. The school communities are so well insulated that it can be harder to get out into. Did you guys stay in Kingston through the summers, or did you go home every summer?
So when I first moved here, I was going home in the summer, but right after I graduated, I decided to stay, and that would be like the number one thing that I would recommend to any student who's here who wants to get a feel for what Kingston's actually like. spend a summer here because it's so different than when you're on campus in the winter. You're very isolated. You're super focused on your studies. And in the summer, you get to kind of let loose a little bit. And there's so many things going on, events, lots of like community groups are doing exciting things. It's also just beautiful with the water and lots of trails and things to do. So for anybody that is in Kingston for the school year, I would say you should take at least one summer to stay in Kingston, and you'll have a totally different perspective on the city.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of a crazy thing that so many of the students in Kingston never get to really experience the best time of the year to be here, which is the summer when it's so alive. There's the Princess Street Promenade.
Yeah.
There are so many vendors, so many events going on. And yeah, I came from a small town. I didn't have that much desire to go back there every summer, and there weren't as many job opportunities. So for me, I found a job in between third and fourth year. I ended up staying that summer. Then I started working for the AMS, and I stayed for the summer after I graduated. So I was here for pretty much 2 years straight, and that really cemented my experience, not just being a Queen's student, but actually living in Kingston and seeing what else there was.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that every June when the weather gets really nice and you want to jump into the lake and all the events start happening. It's like it's such a busy place, and then you look around, you realize all the students are gone, or the vast majority of them are gone. They're missing out on that. But yeah, okay. So first big tip, stick around for a summer. So what's something, hindsight's 2020 is the like cliche on this. You get further down your degree, you look back, you say, maybe I could have done things different. So what's something that you learned later on about Kingston that you wish you'd known sooner as a student that you'd like to impart on to the next generation? It's a thinker.
Yeah, something that I only discovered after I'd graduated was how proximate Kingston is to so many incredible outdoor spaces. There's great conservation areas, there's great hiking, obviously lots of waterways, and you can do paddleboarding, canoeing, kayaking, all these things. I had never gone to Wolf Island until after I graduated.
Oh, really?
Amazing day trip, yeah. And like Rocked Under, going out to Lake Ontario Park and the Cataraqui Conservation Area. So yeah, or Lemoyne Point, I guess it's called. There's so many great opportunities to get outside. Even just walking along the waterfront trail in the Inner Harbor, you can see like 5 different kinds of turtles, migrating birds. So yeah, amazing outdoor opportunities, I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree. Kingston's so beautiful, and it wasn't until I really forced myself to kind of leave that little campus bubble and go meet other people, visit other businesses. Like, there's always so much going on, and I think that even though there's so many great things happening on campus, just pushing myself to step out of that bubble and go see what else is going on in the city, I would definitely recommend to any student to do that.
But you could, if you wanted, spend 4 years just fully ensconced in the Queen's, the SLC bubble. But, to really get the most out of it, you need to branch out into the community, join a group, walk the KMP, go to Little Cat. So building on that then, what do you see as an essential Kingston experience for students? What do the students need to do while they're here? What would you check off your bucket list at Kingston?
Something that we've already said, but for me, I think like spending a summer in Kingston is the key to getting the full experience of what the city's like here.
What's your favorite summer event that they would have to check out while they're here?
I love all the concerts that go on. There's so many, like from just little pop-ups at a pub downtown to like the Blues Festival. There's always really, really good live music, and that would be my favorite thing to do in the summer.
It's a good one.
Yeah, there's so many. Obviously, when you're a student, you might not have a ton of money to splurge on fancy restaurants. But
True.
There are so many great restaurants that aren't necessarily expensive, that are homey, great patios that are always open in the summer. And I think that's really an essential and something that Kingston's really known for is awesome dining experiences. And then... Yeah, I'm a movie lover,
Right.
so I discovered in between third and fourth year Movies in the Square.
Oh, yeah.
And I started going to that a couple times in the summer, and that was really fun. And it's so awesome that the city is kind of just putting that out there, those events totally for free, completely accessible, and great way to just make the most of your time.
You got free movies, you've got some free music that happens during the summer, and then there are a lot of affordable good eats in the city, so it's a good opportunity to eat your way through the city while listening to some good music and watching movies. So I know there might be some folks listening that are nearing the end of their program, trying to figure out how to get started in their careers and maybe considering Kingston, hopefully considering Kingston as an option. That's a scary transition, though, for a lot of people moving from, school into working and all that. What are some suggestions that you might impart on that, having, relatively recently done that yourselves?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be like, don't be afraid to network and reach out to people. Even if you aren't looking for a job right now, there's so many people in the city that were in the exact same position as you. I know that there's lots of people who came for school and decided to stay. So just like reaching out for a little coffee chat, like use your LinkedIn connections to your advantage and start looking at people who might be doing similar things or studied similar courses that you did, and just reach out to them, because more often than not, they'll be very willing to have a chat with you. And that is like a really good way to get your foot in the door and start to explore what's out there before it comes time to like apply and, fully grow up.
Yeah. So for me, looking at my career progression, finishing with a general arts degree, it's not like I was on, a really clear path from A, you get a degree in political studies, to B, you get a specific job.
Yeah, not like med school and being a doctor.
Exactly. I wasn't on that track, so it was a bit more wide open. So for me, the thing that probably made the biggest difference, and it's crazy looking back because it was really such a minimal time commitment, but being a volunteer at the AMS, I was working as the marketing coordinator for the Academic Grievance Center, the AGC, shout out. And that was just like 5 hours a week or less, but that got me involved in the AMS and led to my full-time job, and then led me right into my career. So I would say any opportunities you have to get extracurricular experience, maybe in an area of interest or a passion, and apply for co-ops, apply for any of those programs. There's accelerator programs in the summer, like QuickSea, that you could apply for. Any way you could get experience outside of just being a student. Not that it's not hard to be a student. There's lots of great work there, but getting some real world experience, I think, can be really, really helpful.
It sounds like the stuff that you talked about getting out into the community really helps too. You can understand what's out there, what's available, what's accessible, and people will get to know you better too. And there's other options available. I mean, Lauren, you went to Queen's and then you realized that, hey, I want to like get a more specific skill set and a different type of job, and there was that option through SLC. So there's other stuff available that way. Is there anything we haven't really covered off that you think students need to know about Kingston? Any like secret tips or anything you want to add?
I would say Kingston is obviously very compact in terms of the downtown. And so if you're able to bring a bike, I think that's a great thing a great asset to have as a student. Really easy to get around. Definitely bring a good lock or bring your bike inside your house at night, because there is bike theft.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's an awesome thing, and that will really unlock so many opportunities. We mentioned the KMP Trail. There's great trail networks. And you could go to Wolf Island, you could go down to the waterfront, get around downtown easily. So I think that is definitely something to do. And then, sticking around for a summer, there are infinite opportunities to have fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would just say don't be afraid to jump into something. You don't need to know exactly what you want to do right now. I certainly didn't when I was a student, and I've tried out a couple different paths since then. And Kingston can really use all the talent and amazing students that we have that come. So don't be afraid to try something, and Kingston would be very lucky to have you.
Definitely. And with Kingston being a small city, I think you can get access to opportunities that might be bigger than 100%. You would in a big city where there might be 1,000 people applying to a job with more experience than you. I think in Kingston, you can get access to great opportunities and really rapidly grow and accelerate your career if that's, where you are in your life. And I think that's something that is kind of not always known about Kingston.
That's a great point and a great one to wrap up on. Thank you all for listening today, and at the risk of being corny, thank you for picking Kingston for school. There's a lot of places you could have gone, and I think you made a good choice. There's lots going on in your new community, and we hope you get involved. The city has a bunch of resources for students, so if you're looking for more info geared to your needs, please visit CityofKingston.ca/students. There's a bunch of info there, from how to get bus info to what to do with your trash, how to get a parking permit, or open a utility account, and much more. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, we have more. Check out our previous episodes to learn more about your city and the work that we do. And if you have a topic you'd like to learn more about or have us tell you more about, please let us know. We're always happy to receive mail. Send us a note by emailing podcasts@cityofkingston.ca. Thank you.